Hello today, my dear viewer. By the time of writing, RetroStudio's 2022 egg hunt has been released, and it's been out for a few days now. Enough time for me to complete the event and get all the eggs. After assessing my experience and taking mental notes of what I have and have not enjoyed, I decided to review this event and see if it was worth the hype. You ready? Let's dive into this ocean of nostalgia. But, before we get started on the main event, let's go over some minor things. Firstly, the building. It's quite nice here. The map is very grassy and natural. However, there are many areas that switch up the predefined look of the game. You got a sandy western town, a military training camp, a cave with magma-filled interiors, a medieval castle. Yeah, get the gist. The building never gets too realistic or too dumbed down. It feels consistent, which I can admire. It also has some charm, the edge, which we'll get to in a second, and the dialogue from NPCs feel like they would be from old Roblox. Like this is an official old Roblox event, which is good. Alright. I know you're waiting impatiently for me to talk about the eggs. We'll get to that later. The story here is that Lucky Lapin has been imprisoned by an Egyptian god, simply named Ra. You must collect all the eggs in order to bring balance to the Eggverse. Typical Roblox stuff. Before we go balls deep into this, I'll list the less important eggs first, as they aren't really, well, anything. The Charged Faberge, Royal, and Ruby Sparkle Time Faberge Eggs are gained from finding them in one of their main spawn locations, which take a while, mind you, given how it takes at the lowest an hour for one to spawn, making these really annoying. At least they look good. We also have the Eggmin 2022, which is obtained from an Eggmin joining and spawning a tidal wave of these eggs. Okay, finally, we can begin with the actual eggs, starting with the basic egg, which can be found literally anywhere above ground. This design is just one of those big plastic eggs your uncle buys for your little cousins to find after their little egg hunt. It's just filler, nothing more, nothing less. Next! The Egg Alive is just another basic egg, spawning whenever, and underwhelming anyone who has standards. At least the design is nice and goes well with most avatars. Egg Farmer. Now finally, something worth hunting for. You actually have to do a little detective work and scour the farm's chickens to find a faker, which drops the key which allows you to unlock the farm shed and find the egg. Actually had me for a second. Heh. The design is also decent and does its job well. Finding Blox-KO the egg is quite simple to obtain. All you have to do is follow an obvious path of flowers, do some baby parkour, make your way to the cave and touch the egg. It's very easy and not intriguing to get, making it quite unmemorable. Trust me, this will be a recurring theme. The design is at least good. The chocolate egg is another find it sitting somewhere around the map egg. Boring! The design is quite simple and feels pretty bland. At least they're saving the good designs for the harder bits. You can get the Eggsplosive Bomb Egg by making your way to a field near spawn, looking for when the Eggsplosive spawns, and touching it before it explodes. Pretty easy, but at least has you on a time limit. The design is also pretty nice and makes it easy to blend in with an avatar. The first law of eggs makes you fling your way into the sandy western town I mentioned earlier, tossing some free egg and flinging it into the bullseye of a target to get the egg. Though easy for me, I would imagine it would give some kids trouble. The design's pretty lame though, just a busted up egg, doesn't go well with most avatars. Egg of the Hill, now this one's different. You have to make your way to the top of a hill in the military training camp along with a buddy, and sword fight them to their death. Death before dishonor! And only one can get the egg. Basically, a teamwork game with more first-degree murder. Difficulty here relies solely on one's sword fighting skill, which can be hard and easy. I, of course, thrashed the competition. The design is actually good for once, and it's pretty well-rounded. Overall, an actually good egg. The monkeying around egg sees you reaching a massive tree, climbing some mountain, a vine, and falling onto the lower level of the tree's leaves, while trying not to trip on some banana peels. Once again, pretty easy to obtain. The design is nice and doesn't rely on getting specific egg clothing. The golden egg of achievements is a fetch quest, where you must find the king of the castle town's crown lying somewhere in the mountain and bring it back to him, which is pretty easy once you know what to do. The egg's design is like the Egg of the Hill, but less complicated. Rabid Egg is another not baby easy egg. You have to find the hole in the castle town, take the Rabid Egg out of said castle town, and find his hideout to put him in. He will reward you with his body. The design goes well with many avatars, and it's once again well-rounded. The tiny tank egg is next up, and it's quite fun. You have to find a broken tank in the military training camp, walk into it, pass a non-climbable wall, and after some walking, find a frickin' tank track. Finally something fun! You get to ride around and pass obstacles, trying to fall off and position or take well in order to clear the course. Woo! Woo! Woo. Okay, actually it's not that interesting, but it's still nice to change the pace. And kill me once. Overall, not hard in the slightest, but still exciting. The design is also nice, but I wouldn't see many people using it. Oh well, on to the next egg. Eggy Pop is another decent egg quest where you must find a carrot, bring it to a lair, then ride on a big marble to the exit. But make sure to snag missing rabbit Jeffrey in before you leave. Making it through with the little rabbit leads you to Eggy Pop, who's relieved to have his plane friend back, thus giving up his body. Again. The design is quite bland, however. Just an egg with generic 90s accessories on it. Still quite fun though. Billy the Egg has you going from around 2 in the city, western town, and robbing a bank for some sweet ticks. You get the quest from Billy himself, follow another hole, do an eggy obby, collect the ticks and dip. Not very hard, as you can tell. The design is like Eggy Pop's, but not that bad, having clothing and a hat that actually mix well. Overall, decent. The Scrambled Egg is a change for getting it at the farm, following other crushed eggs on the ground, following the path to a cracked wall, and doing an obby. Once again, pretty easy. The design is nothing special, exactly what you think when you hear the name Scrambled Egg. The insanely valuable crystal eggs see you going into a waterfall after doing some easy parkour, following your path shown to you, being another obby in a maze, and then finally having 2 people stand on either plates. The door opens and you snag the egg. So easy. This one was actually kind of fun and it was quite intriguing. Probably because it actually had any length to it. The design is a bop as well, simple but effective, and easy to make work well. The Hipster Egg of Retro is also fun. You gotta do an obby at the military training center, which includes jumping through a minefield. Then you encounter the egg, who forces you to go through an old Roblox quiz to prove to you it's better or something. It's pretty easy with basic knowledge, and has a funny little jab at biased old Roblox complainers at the end. After passing the quiz, you can finally claim the little bugger as your own. The design is also nice, letting you create some nice combos. Ooh, the Vampiric Egg of Twilight. Now this is a good one. To get it, you need to find an actually well-hidden cave, complete a maze with many enemies in it, which can be quite hard to get around and get to the exit, and wait for it to turn nighttime for the egg to spawn. This egg was actually relatively moderate in terms of difficulty, and is a breath of fresh air. The design is also great and works wonders. Merlin the Meggical requires you to find a tower, climb to the top, jump on a flag to bounce on top of the tower, accept the wizard's quest, get the bottle inside said tower, go to the tallest mountain, and stand in the marked spot for 20 minutes while holding the bottle to fill it with lightning, and give it to Merlin. Quite lengthy to get, a little tedious even, and is in general decently easy. The egg itself is also quite expressive and fun to mix and match items with. Treasure Egg Land! Remember when I mentioned the crystal cave with the magma? Well, that's where you have to go. After arriving at the mine shaft in the sandy western town and completing a maze, you arrive at some beautiful caverns. Jump on the abandoned tracks, fall into the magma-filled obstacle course, and grab the egg before you suffer a fiery fate. This one actually killed me in the magma section, and the maze before that was pretty tricky at first. Hell, the obby in the cold caverns was moderately difficult. Still pretty easy, but not nearly as brain-bonding as the rest. Design's once again simple and easy to mix and match. You offer traditional egg, you just grab a mug from the mountain, bring it back to a house near the spawn which has a big hole in it, and hop down to get to the Roblox HQ, where you can find the egg. Easy once you know what you're doing, the design is really bland, not much to it. Yolker Egg has you grabbing a sledgehammer from a house and busting it out or a door in the castle town. You'll be transported to a maze you must solve. After clearing it, you can nab the egg. This one's pretty easy once again. The only reason I struggled is because I was an idiot who didn't bother to check the houses for so long. Anyways, the design is nice and works well, blah 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 blah. It'll be all over soon, don't worry. The Humpty Dumpty Egg has you abusing gear jumping. I mean hopping over some walls to get on Humpty Dumpty. Gotta do an easy obby and push them all the way down. It's just me or all of these eggs blending in. Anyways, the design is basic and doesn't go very well with much. Alright, almost done. The Ethereal Ghost Egg will spawn in random places, and you need to jump up to a high spot to get onto it. Once more, it's pretty easy. The design is pretty big, but still works. Okay, here we go. There's only one more egg, and I saved the best for last. The Egg of Ra. First, one must go to the sandy western town to get to the mine shaft one last time, and find a segmented waterfall that leads to a high-speed conveyor section. After doing that, you reach the pyramid. After breaking and entering, you are greeted by Lucky Lapin once more, telling you that this is it. With 2 other buddies, you open the gate and barge in. Ra applauds you for making it this far, but he is still mad at your persistence. He appears and you are granted with swords to attack. Let's do this! Ra acts like a zombie free model, but he has some tricks up his sleeve. He can summon mummies to attack you, though these are easy to run away from as they are slow, and it's not like he is slower than them. He will sift through them quickly. He can summon sand pillars to rise and try to puncture you. Eventually, he will start making a shield for himself, of which you need to destroy by collecting special eggs that roll around the map. He's quite a tough cookie, but persist and you will eventually emerge victorious. After beating his ass, you must climb a vine. Now that the bubble is broken, Lucky Lappin is free, and applauds your heroic act. He lets you keep the final egg, the egg of Ra. This egg is well designed, goes well with many items. Quite the prize, if I do say so myself. And with that, our journey is complete. Now, for the big question, what's this event worth it? Well, the game is pretty well built, don't get me wrong. Hipster Egg did a wonderful job, and the eggs are fun to an extent. But the game suffers from trying too hard to pander to RetroStudio's audience of kids. This game is baby easy. There were only a few eggs that really made me think of more than 2% of my brain. When things finally clicked and I got to the main challenge, I beat it almost always first try. The map size is also an annoyance. It's really big, and since we have no extra movement options here, or even a speed boost, this just makes getting the eggs more tedious than they have to be. Yes, there are portals to activate, but they don't save in favor of the server, and they are not very fast and sometimes glitch. I understand wanting to make a game for everyone to enjoy, but the event we got here sacrificed the excitement of the older audience for the younger audience's enjoyment. This event, and events in general, are very easy and get their hours of playtime from grinding, and don't have anything that really challenges their players. Like, come on, give some real challenges. Make the prizes hard to get, and feel actually entertaining and fun. Not just a plastic egg hidden by your uncle on Easter for your little cousins to find. Overall, what I do to find the game fun to an extent. RetroStudio's 2022 Egg Hunt isn't very challenging and doesn't test our skills in any meaningful way. However, this doesn't mean I didn't find enjoyment in it. I still think it's worth playing, and it's still important to RetroStudio. Just don't take this the wrong way, okay? But we're not done yet. There's one last question I want to answer, done mostly for myself. Where would I rank this event, compared to the others at least? Currently, the Halloween 2021 event is the best to me, and the Christmas 2021 event the worst. So, after considering this for a hot second, I have decided that the RetroStudio's 2022 Egg Hunt is currently the weakest event. Although the Christmas event was pretty grindy and repetitive, it was still hard at first, and getting cool new weapons and gear to strike bosses was really fun. The Egg Hunt just kinda does the same thing a million times with a different coat of paint. The Egg Hunt really started rotting my brain near the end. The Christmas event kept me slightly intrigued throughout. Once again, I still find this game worth playing, it's just kinda meh to me. I guess all there is to say is I want more challenges in my RetroStudio events. Okay, for realsies, we're done. Never. See you next time, my dear viewer, and remember to subscribe, or else Ari will turn you into a cake, not before torturing you to death!